Okay, folks, well, good afternoon, and welcome to this gathering in memory and in celebration of the lives of Judith Hanks and her daughter, Emily Hanks. I'm Matthew Grieco, longtime funeral director and celebrant in the community, and today I'm honored to offer a welcome and opening remarks for Judith and Emily's life celebration. On behalf of their entire family, we sincerely thank you for taking time out of your weekend, this Memorial Day weekend, to be with them, with your love and your support. And while Facebook and emails, texts and calls, condolences online have all been absolutely amazing and heartwarming for this family, and the family thanks you most sincerely, we can't replace this, a gathering in person where we share our love and concern for one another, face to face, shoulder to shoulder. There's a lot of love in this place right now. And that's just what the doctor ordered for each of you, for sure. Folks, it takes a village, doesn't it? When we lose two people in any way, it hurts. When we lose family or friends in such a senseless way, it hurts even more, doesn't it? It takes a village to get through this. Folks, grief doesn't take a holiday, as I like to say. In order for us to heal, we must first grieve. It's our human, physiological, and psychological way of adapting to our loss. By definition, this gathering, this memorial gathering, where we will cry, where I trust we will have some laughs, where we will share our emotions in a safe and supported space. It's the first step in our grief journey. It's no different than if we broke our arm and decided to just let the arm heal on its own. We know that would never happen, right? It must be set and casted. It's the same with our grief. Without this gathering today, without the love and support of one another, we don't begin to heal effectively. And so with those thoughts in mind, I pray for all of you that this gathering will bring you comfort, healing, and peace. Judith and Emily's family and friends have worked hard to create stories and memories that will fill your hearts today. Please encourage them with your love as they open their hearts to you at this time. As your bulletin states, brother to Judith and uncle to Emily, Steve, will share his thoughts first.
Thank you everyone for being here today. We really appreciate all your love and support. Judy and Emily, what a team they were. The dynamic duo, that inseparable bond that kept them together until the very, very end. It all began in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, where Judy was born to Mary and Stephen Skibo. She was the middle child. She had an older sister, Barbara, and I came much, much later. We lived in our grandparents' home right across the street from Washington School, where she attended elementary school. She was lively, she was happy, she was outgoing. She was a pretty little girl. There she is with Barbara, a couple of slides with Barbara, and then you can see me. It's like I have two grown-ups with me already. And they were very nurturing and very caring all along. Judy was very studious from the very, very beginning. She first attended Washington School right across the street for elementary school, and then Liberty High School, where she graduated at the top of her class. And I remember, I think I was about 6 or 7 years old. She was trying to study upstairs, and I heard, "Quiet, I'm trying to study." Her older sister, Barbara, on the other hand, could study with the radio on. She attended the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. She originally started out as a math major, and then switched to elementary education when math became too theoretical for her. After graduation, she moved to Connecticut, southern Connecticut, where she taught in Old Greenwich, 2nd grade. She was very diligent, thorough, caring. She wanted her students to succeed. It was in Connecticut where she met her lifelong friends, Judy, Jerry, and Dee, where they spent many happy times on Long Island Sound, boating, gardening, socializing, some antiquing. Martha Stewart would say tag sales up in New England. And then New York City was a short train ride away, where they had many exciting evenings in the Big Apple, the city that never slept. Emily came after Judy moved to Kennett Square, the mushroom capital of the world. Its main claim to fame that it sometimes smells like mushrooms when we're passing through. She was a lively girl, pretty girl, outgoing. She was her mother's daughter from day one. She loved, fun-loving, a very good student like her mother. She also found time to spend time on the telephone and play soccer. And then on the first day of school, she took flowers to the teacher. Well, she eventually attended high school, other area schools here, and then graduated. And she went to Miami University, which is not in Florida. It's in Ohio, Oxford, Ohio, not Oxford, England, where she met many close friends, long-lasting friendships. She was the president of her sorority, and she spent time abroad in China, South Korea, and Japan. I remember one summer. And Jessie, and her close friend Jessie, is going to share more about the Miami years. Well, I'm going to go back. When Emily went to Miami, Judy retired from teaching and took a job at the Pottery Barn, which is down the road, because she was bored. And her sister, her older sister Barbara, quickly became her best customer, most frequent, avid customer. So the Pottery Barn sales skyrocketed. Chicago, after Miami, the Windy City, where she first worked at Ernst & Young, and then most recently at CNA Insurance. And she made many close friends and long-lasting friends, and many of you are here today. Judy had another Pottery Barn customer, Emily, whose condo belonged on the cover of Chicago Magazine. And I finally made it there recently, and I was like blown away. I could live there. It was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Friends and family, long-lasting friendships, over 50 years with the Connecticut group. And then most recently, the Kennett Square group, whether it be Pottery Barn, East or Bradford, or wherever you are, friends forever. Michigan, not too far from Chicago, where we had many happy summer nights with the dogs. We got many lakeside treats. My son, Ben, is that little blonde-haired boy in the left corner. Well, he eventually grew up, and now he's that big man in the other slide on the right. I sometimes remind my wife, Susan, though, that I will never grow up and move out on her. The dogs, they didn't just decorate their homes, they decorated the dogs, too. Halloween, other events. They might not have appreciated the dogs, but we certainly did. We got many chuckles out of their elaborate costumes. So here we are, and I'm going to turn it over to my wife, Susan, who's going to read a prayer, and then Judy Allen and Corinne Sweeney are going to talk about the Kennett Square and Connecticut years. Jesse's going to talk about Miami and Chicago a little bit more. Her close friend, Linda Davis, who is somewhere in here, she's going to read a prayer, and then Doug Gear, Barbara's son, he is going to close it, and we're also going to have a song and then a reception right next door. So again, I thank all of you for being here. We really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much for all your love and support. You have no idea how much it means to us.
So the prayer that I'm going to share with you is a Gaelic poem. And I came across it a few years ago when it was sung on Sunday morning at the church I attend. And they had the words in the bulletin. And I just thought the words were so beautiful. And they gave me calm. They calmed what was ever going on in my head that day or what I was carrying in my heart. And so when Steve asked me if I would share something, I said, I think I have just it. And so the words are in your program. Please feel free to, please feel free to say them along with me, or just let them wash over you, and hopefully, I'm hopeful that they will help to give you some calm and to be a salve for our broken hearts. Deep peace I breathe into you. Oh, weariness here. Oh, ache here. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace I breathe into you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the gentle night to you. Moon and stars pour their healing light on you. Deep peace of Christ's light to you. Deep peace.
Hello, everyone. I'm the other Judy. Thank you to Emily's friends for calling me Little Judy, because that's what she called me. It made me feel very welcome today. But I want to thank you, Steve and Barbara, for planning such a lovely, perfect tribute to two beautiful people, two of the most important ones in their lives. I'm honored to stand here to share our fond memories, those that Corinne will share, and I know Jesse's going to be talking, and Steve, what a beautiful job you did as an introduction, to talk about my friend Judy and our friend Judy. So here we are, all in celebration, and when it comes to Judy and Emily, there is oh so much to celebrate. The thing about Judy is there's so much to say, and I suspect that's the case for Emily as well. I'll never forget the day Judy first came into my life. It was, I call it the best bad luck I ever had, because we met over a flat tire, mine, and a gentlemanly colleague of hers who offered to fix it. I'm not embarrassed to say I didn't have that skill set at the time. I still don't, as my husband knows. So while John did the work, Judy and I started talking, and we have not stopped ever since. We talked for 53 years about the sublime, the mundane, everything in between, pop culture, serious topics, families. There wasn't anything, actually, that Judy and I didn't discuss. We connected immediately, and that friendship lasted for over 50 years, sharing every fabric of our lives: friendships, families, careers, adventures, and travel. I know many of you could add your own stories about Judy, because she connected with absolutely everyone she knew. She never sought to be the center of attention. She made everyone around her feel valued and important. You all know the light she brought to every occasion, the fun there was whenever she entered the room. Judy was smart and kind, considerate, generous and gracious, thoughtful and loving, and so much fun. But not only did Judy connect with every person she met, as Mary Pat, her good friend, said, Judy was a connector. She brought people together. Of course, her first and most important connections were her family, Barbara, Steve, and all the Skivos. I know why and how much she loved each and every one of you. You meant the world to her, and I want to thank you for embracing me over the years. She connected me with your family, from Thanksgiving in Bethlehem with your parents, to you welcoming me to your homes in Ohio and Michigan. Those were some really great memories I had, and I got to know you all so much better because of that. Well, speaking of family, my family loved Judy too. We spent April vacations oftentimes, I think at least 10 years worth, with my parents in Florida. We would go down on school breaks and enjoy the sun and surf. And my parents, my mom, dad, and sometimes my brother gave us lots of pampering. And one year, my dad rented 2 homes on the Outer Banks for my very large extended family. And he was so fond of Judy, Skibo, as he called her, because that's what I always called her. With 2 Judys, we often went by our nicknames, and my maiden name was Wildy. So it was Judy, and it was Skibo and Wildy instead of Judy 1 and Judy 2. Dad loved Judy, and so he said, why don't you ask Judy and Emily to come? And so they came for about 4 days and joined my family. And so the 2 Judys had family vacations with the Skivos and the Wildies over the years, and those were cherished times. Mark Twain famously said, the 2 most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. When Judy had Emily, a special spark lit up her life. Judy's and Emily's connection was the strongest of mother and daughter bonds. Strong even in their friendships. Emily often mentioned to me, even as a teenager and many times since then, she admired and longed for the kinds of friendships Judy kept over so many years. Yes, you Miami and Chicago girls, Emily found the same in you. And I know how you connected with Judy, as she was affectionately called by many of you, Judy. There's a little story that goes with that, but maybe I'll tell you that while we're all having our refreshments later. After her family, Judy came to Connecticut after college, and fresh out of college from our home states of Ohio and Pennsylvania, Judy and I arrived in Greenwich, Connecticut to begin our teaching careers. We weren't at the same schools originally. That didn't seem to stop us from building a strong friendship, but eventually we did work together at Old Greenwich School. Judy was an exceptional, gifted teacher from the very beginning. She connected with every student, every parent, every colleague. In fact, she set the standard for excellence in education the same way she did in her hobbies and in the passion she held for life. Everyone loved her, and deservedly so. How do I know this? Because she taught 2nd grade and I taught 3rd. So I heard from all those students and parents, and she was a very hard act to follow. 2 of my favorite professional memories are these. One had to do with grad school. Judy and I went to Fairfield University together, and so Judy-like, she said, you know, this is going to be a bit of a drag. After working all day, going to classes, we just have to figure out a way to make this fun. So we turned this into a fun adventure amid the study and grind, and after long days teaching, and sometimes during the summer, we decided that we would go to dinner before a class if it started late, or after a class if it started early. So that made what was probably not the most fun activity at the time, trying to work and go to school at the same time, but we certainly managed to make it work. The other professional activity that I'm really happy that I was able to do with Judy was called Springboards to Writing. And we connected, and obviously Judy did, with a larger community in Greenwich. We designed a series of 12 writing units. It was very big at the time to have a new writing program. And so for the elementary schools, we wrote a grant and got the money to design boxes of bulletin boards, teaching materials, lesson plans that were widely used throughout the Greenwich community. And I know for Judy, it was a source of pride, and we had a lot of fun doing it, and it felt like a great professional accomplishment. Again, she connected with people not just in our school, but all around the community. Our Connecticut years and beyond were never all work and no play. Play we did. From our earliest days as friends, whether living in the same house, town, or state, or not, our connection remained a strong bond. We shared a love of activity and adventures, joined craft classes, made macrame Christmas trees, made ornaments for our friends. We played tennis, brought theater subscriptions, and we traveled far and wide, including a memorable cross-country trip, where, again, Judy bonded with some members of my family because I had aunts and uncles strategically placed on the West Coast, and they invited us to stay in their guest rooms. So that was a trip that I'll always remember. We also had trips to Charleston, Ocean City, New Jersey, Newport, Rhode Island with our friend Linda, and visits back and forth when she came to Pennsylvania. We vowed when she moved here that we would never, ever let our bonds slip, even though we weren't going to be in the same state, and we never did. The other thing that I want to say is that it's not usual for someone else to pick out your dog for you, but you know of Judy's love for pets, and the only person I would ever trust to pick out my dog was Judy, which she did when she chose 2 golden retrievers, one for her and her family, that was Molson, and one for my family, and that was Jackson. So they were brothers, and I know they knew they were brothers every time they visited. Judy brought a joy to even the smallest of occasions, but of course the most meaningful ones as well. During Judy's 12 years in Connecticut and beyond, she and Emily became like family to my husband Garland and to our son Chris and to me. But of course, we were not the only friends who loved her so. Judy built some strong, true, close, and lasting friendships of a lifetime with Jerry and Joe, Dee and Vinny, Ned and Rod, Linda, Janet, and so many others. To them, we were wildly in Ski-Bo, and together we voted on Long Island Sound, vacationed on Martha's Vineyard, and enjoyed those beach days that Steve mentioned on Long Beach Island. But we also partied in Connecticut for holidays and lots of family occasions. During those years here in Kennett Square, those of us made trips back and forth, and Judy was an unparalleled hostess. Her hospitality was unparalleled, as I said. We enjoyed her beautiful gardens, her delicious meals, and every single touch, because she always thought of everything. My husband happens to like apple cider donuts, and every time we came, Judy would sneak out of the house at the crack of dawn to go to Northbrook, is that the name? Northbrook, and came back with the donuts that Garland liked so much. I'm blessed that Judy connected me with so many of her friends here in Pennsylvania. It's something that I will always treasure. Thank you to all of you here in Pennsylvania for embracing me as one of your own. Judy and Emily were the kind of people who make a difference in the life of everyone they know. I hope you will share your special stories with me after this ceremony. And to Judy, my Steve-O, thank you for all the gifts you have given me. I know how lucky I am to have loved you for 53 years. You enriched my life for the better in every way possible, and just by knowing you, a piece of my heart, my very being changed forever. I miss you beyond measure. Your spirit will always be with me. And in closing, I came across something in the window of a shop in the last month, and it just spoke to me because I think it's so Judy. It was by F. Scott Fitzgerald. He didn't write about her, obviously, but he could have. It's on beauty. She was beautiful for the way she thought. She was beautiful for the sparkle in her eyes when she talked about something she loved. She was beautiful for her ability to make other people smile, even when she was sad. No, she wasn't beautiful for something as temporary as her looks. As an aside, we know how beautiful she was in her looks. No, she wasn't beautiful for something as temporary as her looks. She was beautiful deep down to her soul.
Hi. I think we could all remember when we first met Judy, because it was at that moment we knew we had a forever friend. Mary Pat remembers meeting poolside over at Greenwood when Emily and Megan were toddlers. And Linda, when you arrived at West Bradford Elementary School and found her room was right next to Judy's. But I almost did not make it into the friends category. It was 34 years ago, and Emily and our daughter Corinne were both 3 years old. They're going to the same daycare at Kathy's here, and the same preschool. I didn't know Judy, and she had some arrangement for Emily to get from the preschool to the daycare. But one day I was asked, probably by Kathy, if I could pick up Emily when I picked up our daughter. And I said, no problem. So I went to the preschool, I did the pickup, took her to the daycare, I went back to work. Moments later, I got a call from the preschool saying Emily was there waiting. I had forgotten her. Fortunately, I watched Emily grow up into a very accomplished young woman, and I think she recovered from that day. Me, I'm not sure I have yet. So my very first meeting of Judy was that evening, me going over to her house, bringing her forget-me-not flowers, to apologize for my grave error and begging for forgiveness. And like all of you, that was my lucky day because I made a new friend. And I found out that day and every day since, just like all of you, that Judy was the epitome of a friend. And because of that, everyone wanted to be Judy's friend. Those who worked with her in Connecticut in the schools, those here in Pennsylvania, those she worked with at Pottery Barn, and many of you are here, and those she met along the way, like me and many of you in this room. A Renaissance woman is defined as a woman who's interested in and knows a lot about many things, and has a wide range of abilities and interests. Sounds like Judy, a Renaissance woman. Whether it was last night's Phillies game, or tomorrow's golf match, tennis match, world politics, the latest review of a Broadway play, a movie, a book, new recipes, anything about travel, Judy was conversant on it all. Her knowledge was encyclopedic and current. She was smart as a whip, informed and fully engaged in the world. As an example, just last month, Ray and I were literally taking a quiet river cruise through the canals of Amsterdam. Bing, Judy texts me an article saying she had so glad we were doing this as the city had just announced it was going to halve the number of river cruises within the next 5 years to fight tourism. Last week I looked back at that article she had sent me and I saw that it came from CNN Weekly Quiz. A quiz we all knew that Judy probably aced week after week. As mentioned earlier, Judy was a supreme hostess everywhere. Her friend recalls those fabulous dinners at her house. We all would go to Longwood Gardens, many times quite chilly, to see Christmas, then back to Judy's. At West Bradford School, Nancy says every morning it was coffee at Judy's Java Hut. Birthdays, holidays, random special events, all celebrated in Judy's room. Mary Fran said Judy's room was the hub of camaraderie each morning. And that gracious way of hosting extended to Pottery Barn, your beach trips, our road trips, Chester County days. We were eating out of the back of the car. Always a spectacular spread, decorative napkins, cheeses, nuts, colorful dishes, festive linens. No matter the venue, when you were with Judy, she made you feel welcome, cared for, valued, and fed. Poised, polished, regal, stylish chic. Judy's flair for dress and decorating was known widely. Judy was always impeccably dressed and stylish, even if sitting by the pool or even sitting in the pool. And way back when we were on a brownie trip with daughters Emily and Corinne, sleeping overnight in Conestoga wagons out in the woods, I remember looking over and thinking, only Judy can can look so stylish out in the woods while wearing a fanny pack. And the apple didn't fall very far from the tree, as Emily was the same. She was her mother's daughter. You can picture her on kindergarten, waiting, the first day of kindergarten, waiting the school bus, lovely dress, white tights, black leather flats, hair bow, a bouquet of Judy's garden flowers in her hand. And Judy Allen, you told me that her Emily's stylish dress started at birth. Linda recalls the very first time that she met Emily, just home from preschool. She said, I saw a miniature Judy, beautifully clothed from head to toe in the dearest matching outfit, including a hat. And Judy shared her talents, her eye for design and fashion, with many of you. And one of her colleagues, Annie, told this story. She said she was invited to embark on an extended, high-class cruise. She said her delight and excitement turned to terror when she said her sartorial style was more London streetwear than high-class schmoozing on the open seas. Now, you might know Annie is British. So in that moment of terror, Annie said she could think of one person, just one person to turn to run to, Dame Judy, as she called her. Under Judy's protective and nurturing wing, they embarked on an adventure. Department stores, boutiques, and stores where ladies put together fine outfits. And this part. Next came the accessories. Judy laid out the outfits with the appropriate accessories, took photographs, and so Annie knew what to wear and when. Dame Judy saved the day and turned her friend's terror into delight. Judy had a true passion for life, and she brought excitement to all travels. She loved New York City, the museums, the theater, the restaurants, the celebrity sightings. So picture this. Having left a fun morning as members of the audience of the Martha Stewart show, and I noted that that day the guest was Joan Rivers, the Pottery Barn gang of Judy and Connell and Carolyn's here today, and Donna, they headed up 9th Avenue to lunch. As they approached 17th Avenue, they found themselves smack in the middle of the real-life TV set, Law and Order Special Victim Units. Lights, cameras, crews, police vehicles, and next thing, there was Harry Connick Jr. standing right in front of Judy, smiling directly at her. And I'm guessing she was pondering, should I have this elegant woman in front of me? Just what was he thinking? Well, Judy did have opinions and was decisive. Each year, a group of us, girls, Judy and Judy, Mary Pat, Alu, and I would take a road trip. Collectively, we would decide where we would go, the dates that would work out for all of us, and what we wanted to do when we got there. Then I would research Airbnb, knowing our requirements, number of beds, bedrooms, baths, and the ideal location in that chosen town. And I'd narrow it down to some 10 potential homes, and that's when Judy Hanks stepped in. Sitting in front of the computer with me, she would scroll through the photos, look over each house, and decisively say, no, too worn. Maybe. No, too many knickknacks. Maybe. No, outdated linens. No, maybe. No, maybe. And within minutes, with her Bavora, she would pick out that perfect place for us to gather and spend time together. Now on the back end, after we had had our trip and stayed in this lovely place that Judy had chosen, I was filling out the Airbnb reviews. Judy would always provide me with her suggestions to the homeowner on improvements in their decor and furnishings. I confess to all of you, and I never told Judy, but I never sent those suggestions to the owner, as I wanted to maintain my high ratings. Everyone in this room has their own stories, each likely illustrating some aspect of Judy's essence or Emily's essence that has endeared them to us forever. I was blessed to have them in my life, and I will miss them fiercely.
Sometimes when a group of friends were together, all talking, chatting as we do, Emily would start to fidget in kind of her telltale way, just waiting for the moment to say something profound, to land one of her classic Emily lines. And at the first lull in conversation, she'd get her little smirk, a touch in her feelings, and often she would just say, "Guys, this is us." Well, more than a touch in my feelings today, but with all of her closest and most cherished people here to celebrate Emily and Judy, it feels only appropriate to start with that classic Emilyism. Look around, everybody. Because guys, this really is us. Emmers, Hanks, Banks, De Princess, Madam President, Auntie M, the Queen Bee, and to those of us who were occasionally deemed her minions, the management. Emily was known by many nicknames, a reflection of just how many people loved her and the various roles she played in many of our lives. To me, she's best described as my platonic life partner. We had a very unlikely friendship from the start, nearly 20 years ago when we lived in Tappan Hall at Miami University. What began as a relationship akin to the odd couple, but Emily, always tidy and very dapper, like Felix, me, the slob at times, footloose, maybe a little carefree, Oscar. In the beginning, I think we were more amused than probably understanding of each other, but over the years, our friendship blossomed into one that we often envisioned would ultimately just resemble that of our beloved characters on The Golden Girls, which we watched nearly nightly, separately, but would text each other about, and maybe with a little chapter of The Real Housewives in there along the way. She was my person. Sorry, just fuckers. She was my person. But she was all of yours as well. As fellow octopus Kate Croft so eloquently reminded me a couple weeks ago, anyone who was Emily's friend considered her their close, close friend. In Emily, I found somebody who could give me counsel and comfort, somebody in whom I could confide or just gossip. But no matter how brief or how long any of your relationships may have been with Emily, she was a force in your life. She could effortlessly balance keeping everyone in line, yet somehow still be the life of the party. Always brought with a touch of mischief and that trademark cackle, or even her swirly little giggle. She was the ultimate convener, and to so many circles of friends. I'm going to attend to this, so forgive me if I miss any, but here among us today we have her PA girlies, her muse, the fuzzies, the octopussies, the Epsilon Psi's, Ernst & Young crew, the Chicago Book Club, the Bravo Book Club, Cocktail Crew, and the Brunch Club. The names read just as colorful and as quirky as Emily was herself. It's hard to talk about Emily in any way that suggests that there's an end point, or to focus on the memories that we made. Lately, I've been thinking about what made Emily just so special, so vibrant, so full of life. If only just to help me and hopefully help all of you begin to understand how we possibly filled the void in both our hearts and our lives. I know so many of us are feeling. Whew. Emily lived boldly and with purpose. In high school, she stepped up to the plate for her lacrosse team. Many of us, even if we didn't know her at the time, will not be surprised that she took the position of goalie with stride. Borrowing words sent to me by her Pennsylvania friends, she walked onto the field and she took charge, guiding the defense and stepping into every ball thrown her way. She was a warrior. At Miami, Emily was the ringleader of our motley crew of cool nerds, but cool nerds in the honors dorm. firstborn Tappan Hall. After pledging Alpha Xi Delta as a legacy of Rick's mother, who's very active, she was elected as president to lead the chapter of, I'm saying, over 120 women. And if you knew the Fuzzies, they worked hard, but they played a little bit harder. At work in Chicago, Emily was highly respected in her field, but also found the capacity to lead mentorship and philanthropic initiatives for CNA. And even at home, in her gorgeous condo in Boys Town, she quickly became the condo board president, treasurer, and I don't know if there was a room for anybody else on the board. There was just Emily. But Emily's boldness wasn't confined to her leadership roles. She lived her life with intention, and if you knew her, she loved a Yiddish word, so chutzpah. When she walked into a room, if she wasn't already commanding it, there was an aura of, who's that girl? She was unabashedly the best dressed at any occasion. Plus Judy was there, tied. Her home was unquestionably well appointed, and her opinions were unapologetically not sugar-coated. And when she absolutely fudged the lyrics to any number of songs or flubbed a common expression as she ever so often did, she did so boldly. Emily wanted the best not only for herself, but for each of us. Sometimes I think if we could only all see in ourselves what Emily saw or must have seen in us. We've all been subject to a bit of, shall we say, constructive criticism at some point. But behind every piece of advice, whether solicited or not, on anything from outfits to accessories, friends to life partners, dinner reservations or travel destinations, was a desire for her friends to be at their best, to present their best to the world, to live their best lives, and to make the most of every single situation. Even if that meant getting a text to maybe burn those jeans immediately. It was out of love. I heard on Michelle Green's students, but for all that one's you. Photos were taken and retaken, maybe taken a couple more times, until the shot was just right. And if you earned a coveted place in a frame anywhere in Emily's condo, you had made it. Or at least looked good. When she traveled, there would be well-researched itineraries, complete with must-sees, must-dos, backup plans to the backup plans, corresponding emojis for each line in the itinerary, and inspirations from for photo shoots. For group trips, you could also expect some outfit recommendations sent via photos from outfits that she had curated for weeks in advance, or in some cases a 15-slide PowerPoint with color palettes, packing lists, and whatnot. And while we may have received her lists and requests with a smirk, or admittedly even an eye roll at times, we were more often than not all the better and much more appreciative for her efforts. And it wasn't just the clothes or trips or home decor we relied on her astute judgment for. But when it did come to our homes or our trips, I don't know about any of you, but there's this familiar little trill of a FaceTime call coming across, which meant she was calling Judy. And if Judy got the tour of your house or was filled in on the trip, you made it, you had done a good job, she was loving it. For many of our significant others, meeting Emily was as much a rite of passage in the progression of our relationship as meeting our family. Sometimes it requires a second meeting. People went to her for job advice, for friendship advice, for gut checks, and tough love. It wasn't so much that we needed her approval, or needed to do everything just as she would. A simple, you do you, boo, would often suffice. But we trusted her judgment, and we trusted that she wanted the best for her friends. And finally, Emily invested deeply into her friendships. And I don't mean the heavy investment of being a bridesmaid or a maid of honor in 10, 15, lost count weddings. attending every baby shower, bridal shower, or major birthday. Emily was deeply committed to her friends and her friendships, and somehow, amidst all of her responsibilities, made the time to continually foster those relationships over the years, even as our busy, hectic lives got in the way, or we all moved various places across the country. She relished in inviting people in. In college, that may have been an invite to come upstairs or come downstairs because the photos have been uploaded and we're in a cackle from all the nights doings the night before. More of those will be shared in Chicago, not here. And later in life, it was a coveted invite to her holiday parties. But no matter the occasion, so just an easy girls' night or a fully decked out holiday party, when with Emily and at Emily's, you could always expect incredible nosh, great drink, great company, and a lot of laughs. She was the hostess with the mostest, which she obviously got from Judy. The high school friends relate to me that Judy actually may have started the charcuterie board trend because she was making charcuterie boards for high school girls' sleepovers 20 years ago. But, you know, at minimum, I think from Emily, vis-a-vis Judy, we all learned to have some snackies readily available if somebody was coming over, and how easy it was to just whip up some shrimp. The Ina shrimp, but it's now the Emily shrimp. More often than not, Emily was the one spearheading girls' trips, encouraging weekends away and ensuring her friends made time for each other. Whether it be to Big Sky, Harbor Island, Michigan, Maine, New Orleans, Iceland, Miami, Las Vegas, Cancun, Santa Barbara, BravoCon, New York City, and of course her and Judy's trips, especially to the major tennis tournaments. Emily was usually the first to commit and help plan a trip, knowing the destination may be the draw. The suites she'd take home would be a little perk, but it was the precious time and memories with people she loved that was really the reward. Emily was generous with her time. She was generous with her friendships. And what an incredible gift she's given to us all now. A wide, wide network of love and support that is not only to help us get through these tough times, but to continue to guide us in the good times. And through our shared memories of her and Judy, we can all be better friends to the ones that we love. And it's in that vein that I'll wrap up by encouraging us all to continue to stay connected to one another through the examples that Emily set. Live boldly and with purpose. Expect and strive for nothing but the best from yourself and from others. And most importantly, nurture your friendships like they are family. None of us know what life is going to bring us, or to those that we're closest to. So it feels only appropriate to end on one of Emily's more famous tropes. If not now, when?
I keep saying our precious girls are gone. I cannot believe our precious girls are gone. But I truly do believe that they are in heaven, and they are happy, and they are smiling down upon all of you today. Safely home. We are home in heaven, dear ones, oh so happy and so bright. There is perfect joy and beauty in this everlasting light. All the pain and grief is over, every restless tossing past. We are now at peace forever, safely home in heaven at last. Did you wonder how so calmly we trode the valley of the shade? Oh, but Jesus' love illumined every dark and fearful glade. And he came himself to meet us in that way so hard to tread. And with Jesus' arm to lean on, could we have one doubt or dread? Then you must not grieve so sorely, for we love you dearly still. Try to look beyond earth's shadows, pray to trust our Father's will.
There is work still waiting for you, so you must not idly stand. Do it now while life remaineth. You shall rest in Jesus' land. When that work is all completed, he will gently call you home. Oh, the rapture of that meeting. Oh, the joy to see you come.
Wonderful words. Thank you. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for those who have traveled near and far. We're grateful that you are with us. Judy and Emily would be so happy that you all are here for them. They might even approve your attire at the venue. They would be happy that knowing that everyone here could be counted upon in this difficult time, just like them. But I want to echo a lot of words, maybe Jesse's. I can hear and see Emily right now from above. She's gesturing. Douglas, be respectful, bud. She's deliberate, right? She's got a Philly deliberate style. Maybe a slight hint of annoyance on her face. And Judy is nearby. Oh, Emily, you're so bossy. Emily mimicking her mom. You're so bossy. Mom, somebody has to keep this train moving. Something along those lines. I can hear her. So I'd like to close by continuing that thought. To honor their memory, to celebrate our time with each of them. They would want all of us to keep the banter going, the loving banter. They would want all of us to be there for each other, for family, for friends, especially for dogs. We're going to miss them. So let's honor them by continuing to do these things in our lives. I know that's how they would want us to be and how to move forward. So when you hear their voices, or something triggers you to think of them, simply smile and fondly remember their legacy. We're going to end with a song, For Good, and then I'd like to invite everybody next door to celebrate, share a refreshment, share a laugh, share a memory. Thank you from our family.